All right, for more on this, someone to help us unpack all of it is Oklahoma Senator James Lankford. Sir, thank you so much for coming on. Good to see you.
You bet. Glad to be with you again.
Sure. Yeah. So what's the very latest tonight? What are we looking at?
As of tonight, we're waiting on a tomorrow vote for the traditional infrastructure package, which is only $250 billion in unpaid for additional debt. A $1 trillion total package, $250 billion of it not paid for at all. Another $250 billion, pretty smoke and mirrors paid for. And then that will set up then later on the day on Tuesday, starting the process on what is just the framework document, this $3.5 trillion package. It's not the actual package itself. It's a procedural motion to be able to walk through and to pass what's called a budget framework. And then we'll set up a bigger set of votes in September, October, and November on this $3.5 trillion proposal. But they're riding together. Make no mistake. These two are attached to each other.
They're attached to each other. So what does that mean? How does this all play out?
So what will happen is, obviously, it looks like it's going to pass at this point. I do not support the infrastructure package because of its overspending, because all the additional stuff that's in it. The infrastructure package has new language in it for the Green New Deal. It has new language for sexual orientation, gender identity to write in a law that's not related to infrastructure at all. There's lots of other stuff in it. So I strongly oppose this new debt piece. But Nancy Pelosi has already said the only way that the infrastructure package moves is if it also moves with the $3.5 trillion additional what they're calling human infrastructure, which is just socialism, is what it is. Yeah. It's taking from one group and giving it to another group. They can get a fancy new name for it, but it's really just traditional socialism. It's what Barack Obama called redistribution of wealth.
Yeah, no, it actually is. It's pretty scary stuff to see what they've packed into that $3.5 trillion, as if the first one wasn't bad enough. Do you think, I mean, they don't have full support, though, right? I mean, they've got a couple senators. You've got Manchin and Sinema that are on the fence, I think, about spending that much, right?
Yeah, they have. They've both said $3.5 trillion is the wrong number. They need to have a smaller number. We don't know what that number is for them. They've also made some comments about this is raising too much taxes on too many people because it is a massive tax increase. It's interesting to me, when President Trump was in office in 2017, we had the single largest tax decrease on the American people. Watch the economy just take off as a result of that. Democrats come in the office, the first thing they do is try to do the single largest tax increase on Americans. We know what's going to happen to the economy after that.
Yeah, here are some of your colleagues today on the Senate Budget Committee. Let's take a listen.
Democrats have every capability of increasing the debt ceiling. It's their out-of-control budget that is going to force increase in the debt ceiling, so they should do it. They should be honest that way. They are the governing party. It's their responsibility.
The first thing we've got to do is we've got to figure out how we grow this economy. Then we can figure out what we can spend, but we can't be spending before we have it.
So the debt ceiling stuff, explain this to us, because they're calling this budget reconciliation, right? How do you spend $3.5 trillion and you're trying to reconciliate the budget? I don't get any of these. I don't get how this works.
Yeah. So let me take you to a little old school Senate procedure here. In 1974, they passed something called the Budget Act, the 1974 Budget Act. It actually defined out how we would do the budget process. By the way, that process has only worked 4 times since 1974, so it was a terrible design. But in it, the first thing that would happen is you'd pass a budget, the House and the Senate, the president would submit their budget, and then you would have to be able to pull all 3 of those together in 12 appropriation bills. If there was something you needed to correct at the end of it, they created a reconciliation process, which only needed 50 votes. And it was designed to be able to kind of fix issues that needed to be fixed, or if you want to do deficit reduction, you could do that. Well, here's what's happened now. The reconciliation bill, because it only requires 50, has taken on a life of its own. We as Republicans used it in 2017 to be able to reduce taxes on everybody because Democrats wanted to raise taxes on everybody. We reduced taxes, economy took off on it. They're now using that same kind of tool, this reconciliation tool that only requires 50 votes in the Senate and then a simple majority in the House and then a presidential signature to become law to try to change things. The sticky part of it is you can only do budget items. So, for instance, Democrats are saying they want to change all the immigration policy for the country. They want to legalize everyone that's here illegally. That's one of the things they say they want to do in reconciliation. They can't do that in reconciliation because it's not budget related. That's policy related. So they're throwing that out there for their base to say, oh, we tried, but the parliamentarian wouldn't let us. They know right now the parliamentarian won't let them do that because it's not budget related. So it's got to be budget or tax related. That's what the process is.
Yeah, it's a lot of heavy stuff, you know, for the average American trying to figure out how this whole process works. But you think they're going to, you say they're attached, you know, just to wrap things up, they're going to get obviously the $1 trillion through, and you're saying that this $3.5 trillion is attached to it, but they're not going to get that much money. I mean, we just don't know how much they're going to try and push through.
I don't think they are.
Yeah.
And it's going to be a big fight in the House as well. It should be on it. It's a big fight in the Senate to be able to block that and be able to bring that down. Literally, if we only have one Democrat, just one Democrat holds out and says we're not going to do this giant tax and spending package, it all goes away. It doesn't happen. But right now with a 50-50 Senate, we've got to have one Democrat agree to it, and we'll see if we can even find one.
Yeah, it's a tremendous amount of what they call socialism, just making everybody pay for all the stuff of everybody. College, child care, elderly care. It's getting a lot of people on the dole of this country. It's scary stuff. Senator Lankford, thank you so much for the time. Good to see you.
You bet. Glad to do it.